Hey, what's up everybody? And welcome to a thrift store prepper first. We're on location in the kitchen in the apartment upstairs from me. Up until now I've only recorded in my basement, which is the space that I rent downstairs, and this is the apartment that I have access to. So today I'm going to make a little recipe where I actually cook and have a hot meal, which I'm sure will please Gibson Girl, as she does cringe at my cold cooking recipes, or my no cooking recipes rather. And today we're going to be using pots and pans, or rather just one pot and a couple of ingredients to make a little ramen recipe. So what I have in front of you here, if you can see, we have a can of coconut milk, and I've actually gone to the trouble at opening it prior to making this video in the tradition of Blue Peter, the UK TV show for children from the 70s, 80s, and I believe ran into the 90s and is no longer a thing. But anyway, what we're going to be doing today is making a little coconutty Thai lime ramen soup. And something else I have in the background here that I'm hidden is a couple of ingredients we're going to be using: some Frank's Red Hot and some lime. And here, this unattractive looking piece of block of thing is actually tofu, and I picked this up a little while ago, and this was 30% off and come in at around just under $1. And I don't know why I bought this. I think there was a purpose at the time, and I forgot about it. Now I already have, as prepared, a little saucepan, and the water is coming up to the boil. So the first thing we're going to do is take some of our coconut milk, and if I can get the screen, we're going to add a good chunk of this to our boiling water, and we're just going to mix that in and break it up. And you can see it's kind of lumpy, like a paste, but once it gets a little bit of liquid in it, it does melt down. So we're not going to be shy. We're going to be putting quite a lot of the coconut milk in there, and as you can see, that's coming up nicely to the boil. And what we're going to do with the tofu, because this is going to provide us with our protein, is we're going to chop this up into small chunks. And this is come out of the freezer, so it's still a little bit crispy, and I'm actually using a knife that isn't mine, so I'm a little bit unfamiliar. So we're just going to cut this into rough little cubes, and it's actually a little bit easier to cook while it's frozen. It's got a bit more of a solid texture. So you get the idea, cutting it into cubes. And this last one's going to be a little bit of an ugly, ununiformed cut. So there we go, we've cut our tofu. You can see there, and a little piece did in fact fall off of the cutting board. So back to the pot, and while this is coming up to the boil, we're going to add our tofu. Now that's going to bring the temperature down just a little bit, so while I can do that, I can quickly rinse off the cutting board and the knife, because we don't need those anymore. So as I say, this is the first of what may be an ongoing series of actual thrifty, frugal cooking recipes. So what we're trying to do is make a little bit of a fancy Thai flavoring recipe for around $1.50, and maybe even less. So the tofu was 30% off, and I think it was $1.50 to begin with the 50% off, 30% off rather. I don't even know, it was some time ago that I bought this. And we have a single ramen noodle, which 20 cents, 5 for $1 at the Dollarama. This is actually less than $1.50 meal. So the other thing we're going to do at this point is just give it a little squirt of lime juice. And if you've ever had any Thai food, there's always a little bit of Thai lime. And we're just going to throw in a few, actually not more than a few. We're going to give a generous helping of Frank's hot sauce to give it the spice. Now, we can hear that coming up to the boil. So we've got our tofu in there. The coconut milk has completely dissolved. And when that comes up, it's starting to bubble. Here we go. Let's actually point the camera in the direction of the pot. So we're going to add one seasoning. And this is going to give us all the other flavorings that we need for this. And certainly give a little bit of extra flavor to that tofu, which is pretty bland. So all we have is some coconut milk, half a portion of tofu. We're going to put in one ramen noodle, a splash of lime, and a splash of Frank's Red Hot. And you know, you don't have to use Frank's Red Hot, you can use any spicy sauce that you like. So we're not going to crush our ramen noodle up. As you know, that's something we tend to do when we're making our prison recipes or our no-cook recipes, because that helps it hydrate quicker. But in this instant, we're just going to toss it in like that. And to be extra fancy, I've got some chopsticks here because we are making an Asian themed food. And we're just going to wait for our ramen noodle to soften and the broth to come to a boil. And that's pretty much it. You're going to get yourself a nice coconut and lime tofu noodle soup. So I'm just going to bring that up to high on the pressure just to get that little last bit of cooking going. And there we go. We can have a little look inside the pot. Nothing very fancy at all, but you can see with a few little ingredients, we've put together a pretty decent meal. So somewhere I'm going to have a bowl and I'm going to get that ready. I'm going to put the remainder of the tofu back in the fridge because we're not going to be using that anytime soon. And I'm also going to put the coconut milk in the fridge. So let's have another little look what's going on in our pot. Nothing very exciting. So what I might do is pause this for a little while until it's ready to serve, and we'll see how it tastes.